Hello, my name is Brad Craddock, and I'm the principal of Robert B. Glenn High School in Kernersville, North Carolina. In this video, we will have a look at the history of Glenn High School, including demographics, leadership, and changes we have made over the last few years. I will discuss systems thinking, systemic change, first break all the rules, and technology integration within the context of the impact model in Glenn High School. Thank you. The history of Glenn High School. Originally opened in 1950 as a high school, changed to a junior high in 1972 as part of the merger of the Winston-Salem and the Forsyth County schools. Changed back into a high school in 1985 due to the growing population in the high schools. Building project since 1950. The campus has seen 7 different building projects. It sits in the southeastern corner of Forsyth County. Has 35 acres of land, including all athletic fields, including tennis courts and a track, and parking for over 500 cars. The building has 244,000 square feet of heated floor space, which makes it one of the largest high schools in the county as far as square footage. The campus also contains no trailers. Leadership. Important in any type of change model. The leaders at Glenn have stayed for 10 plus years. There have only been 6 principals since it began in 1950. The last 2 principals spent a combined total of over 30 years at Glenn High School. Demographics. Most diverse high school in Forsyth County. The only high school that accurately represents the makeup of the county. The racial makeup consists of 45% Caucasian, 30% African American, 20% Hispanic, and the rest is made up of Asian and mixed race students. The Asian population is no more than 2%. The school is also labeled Equity Plus by our district due to free and reduced lunch above 50%. Systems thinking in Glenn High School. The impact model was introduced as a way of aligning all the other initiatives such as Common Core, Essential Standards, Standard 6 for teachers, Standard 8 for administrators, TPAC, and all of the initiatives in technology as well. We look for ways that the impact in technology can make sense of the different initiatives, and we talked a lot about aligning the arrows. We continue to refine the outcomes, and we will continue to refine the outcomes. And we have just started using the logic model, which was introduced to us as students last semester for clarity. Systems thinking. We've continued to identify appropriate outcomes. We are starting, and we have designed to a degree some models to meet the outcomes that we expect. We're starting to spend more time on the front end of the design. Systemic change. Necessary for education. Continue to make program changes instead of a wholesale or whole system change. That's one of the things that must change in education. I've related systems thinking to the systemic change process, especially when you're looking at the examination of the processes necessary to make these actual changes. And we must move away from sage on the stage in the classroom. The teacher must become the facilitator of learning. When that takes place, there will be an increased collaboration, not only among teachers and students, but also teachers with their colleagues. We at Glenn High School are doing that through our PLCs, professional learning communities, which everybody in the state are doing, and also our LTMs and our learning team meetings. That is for Algebra 1, English 2, Biology. Those are our LTMs at Glenn High School. When we get to the point in time when we have increased our collaboration, we will know that because our teachers will say they're our students, they're not just my students. And first, break all the rules. The 12 questions are important to improve morale. We have done a pretty good job over the last 4 years of selecting talent and selecting our staff based on the talent and what they bring to the table, not where we think they can grow, and not just based on a recommendation or we've looked at the whole total picture, realizing that people can't change. We've started and we have continued to improve our defining our outcomes for all of our staff and our students. And it's important to remember the scorpion fable from this section of reading, that people really will not change in great details. You may be able to improve them through some training and other things, but they're not going to change who they really are. And probably the most important is remember that teacher morale and outcomes are very much related. Technology integration, another key component. Change is difficult, but it's slow at times. And we must realize that. When we want to run, realize that some people will still be crawling. Support comes in many different forms, so there's no one way that you can select the support, and you cannot offer just one way. You have to offer many different areas of support. Hardware and software are constantly changing. We just have to realize that is the case, and you will no longer be able to afford or provide the latest and greatest for everyone. And probably the most important lesson is technology does not improve a weak teacher or a weak lesson. Technology is just a tool. It is not a cure-all. And access and ease of use are something that has to be addressed and looked at continually, because if teachers do not have access and it's not somewhat easy or useful, they will not use it. The Impact 5 implementation at Glenn High School. We have always talked about this as a marathon, not a sprint. Realize that delays in acquiring technology may not be a negative. Key point, we were able to get a better grade of a laptop by waiting, even though the waiting was not necessarily our doing, but by waiting we were able to get a much better piece of equipment. Thoughtful design and professional development is critical. That means that we've got to include and listen to our teachers. There's no longer one size fit all in staff development. It is important to listen to your folks and see what they need to implement these things in their classrooms. And as always, support those people who are taking the risk. Make sure they're getting what they need, even if it's just a pat on the back, to continue taking these risks in their classrooms. Sustainability, a very key ingredient. Professional development is the one thing that I think we will be able to sustain through the teachers' use, through the teachers growing in their classes, and also my growing in the classes, and also the way that we have changed the way we look at professional development. We must figure out ways to further involve the community if we want to continue these changes. And it will always be a hard thing, but funding for the hardware will be challenging. And if we don't find some funding, we will end up leaving some kids behind, and that's not what we can live with. And in conclusion, the impact model has created growth among the teaching and administrative staff at Glenn High School. It has been the start of the necessary change process. I think it is something that has allowed us to start our changes and kind of give some guidance to our changes and where we want to go. And it has definitely opened our eyes, and by that I mean it's changed the way we do things. The logic model and front-end analysis have become keys into what I see as important pieces of what we need to be doing at Glenn High School and also in education. And the definition of systems thinking and looking at all the ways and how each thing is interconnected and it becomes a system is key to us further growing Glenn High School. In conclusion, the impact model has created growth among the teaching and administrative staff. It has been the start of a necessary change process that is needed in education. It has definitely opened our eyes for change and also allowed us to do things differently. It has allowed us a chance to work with and use the logic model and front-end analysis, which we feel are keys to success. And it has given us a working definition for systems thinking and allowed us to take that definition and build upon it. Thank you.